All right, welcome to another Friday night episode of Keto Rocks Radio. I'm Jim Hobbs, and somewhere on the screen, down, up, sideways, below, left to right, is my carnivore co-host, Brian Forsythe of the band Kix and Rhino Bucket. And back for her monthly update, and we just enjoy having her on the show, sharing, just having great discussions about life, about what's really important and maximizing your life. Is back is Carrie Husband. Ken's probably in the background somewhere, so we welcome.
You know what he's doing right now? He's making some of that dried meat because we picked up some top sirloin, and he's doing that right now. He's slicing it thin and getting it ready to put in the dehydrator.
Sounds delish. Sounds delish. So anyway, so it's been a month. So how are we doing, Carrie? How's our numbers looking? Are you at where you're at? Do you have any tips that you can share?
Yeah, things are going really well. Last month, we didn't talk about where I was at. That's okay, because we had a fantastic discussion last month. But last month when we were together, the prior month I was at 17 pounds. Last month I was at 20 pounds. And this month I'm at 24 pounds lost. And then I did my measurements today because I haven't done them in a while. You know that clothes are starting to fit a little bit better, and your face is starting to look a little bit thinner, and you don't have so much of the jowls. But I just don't always stop and take a look at the measuring tool with the measuring tape, because the scale is a lot easier to do. But I am so happy to announce that even with 24 pounds lost in the time when I started this to where I'm at now, I have lost 12 and a half inches off of my body.
Wow. that's
yes.
You're gonna get one of these.
Yay!
We're celebrating.
Yay! So I'm halfway to my goal. I'm halfway.
Congratulations. That's great.
Very excited. And now here's the cool part. Here's the absolute cool part. I had some injury stuff, so I had to back off of some of my high intensity interval training, which I don't like doing anyway. So it wasn't really that big of a sob story, but I figured it was going to really impact my weight loss. But since I have healed my my issue with insulin, my insulin resistance, since I healed that, my body is just doing it anyway. Even if I exercise or not, it is still doing what it's supposed to do. The engine is purring nicely. I'm like, it took me like 4 years to heal my insulin resistance. So I have been, sorry, I'm just so excited because I just stuck to it, and I stuck to it, and I stuck to it. And I knew it was going to take time, and I had to have patience for myself. I had to extend myself grace. And now with having it totally healed, I'm not getting the blood sugar crashes. So backing off on the fitness aspect hasn't impacted it. In fact, even backing off a little bit, I lost 4 pounds.
Awesome.
Instead of 3. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to share this journey because it's been hard. I mean, I had to dedicate my life to 4 years of ketogenic dieting and not getting really far, and then blowing up, and because I was bringing alcohol in, and we've already talked about that, and then adding weight, but I was still eating ketogenic, trying to heal, and then throwing alcohol, and we know that doesn't work. But then getting and sticking to it, and then diving into carnivore. I mean, I've been hardcore carnivore now for a couple months. And I think that was the last little bit that pushed me over to help me with that insulin resistance. And now everything is just amazing. It's just amazing. And so I was excited to get on and talk to you guys today, and really excited because I just literally did my measurements like a half hour before we came on tonight with each other. So you guys are the first to hear about it. 12 and a half inches. Really?
That's crazy.
2 clothing sizes. I mean, this is just fantastic. And I feel good. I feel really good. It's been incredible.
Can you hear me now, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about insulin resistance, I came across a study. I wish I had saved it so I could reference the source, but 88% of Americans are suffering from insulin resistance. 88%. Saw some other study where it said 3%. Well, I know that studies, that's a crock. So we'll just put that study to the side. But the one that I saw with 88%, that seems more what I observe when I go out and walk in public and see people. It's a huge deal. And kudos to you, Carrie, for for coming to that realization of what you needed to do, and not only what you needed to do, but you did it. You're doing it. You know, knowledge without action is just wasted information. The fact that you're actually doing the action to what you've learned and giving other people hope. That's the beauty about having you on here every month, is the fact that, you know, people can see the difference. They hear the excitement and the passion and how better you're probably feeling. And 12.5 inches is off. I mean, that's awesome. That's
Yes.
And just think,
I was wanting to be able to get like the full 50 pounds off before summer, right? But here's the funny thing. I was laughing this morning because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can now fit in my fat, skinny clothes. Meaning, I'm sure you get it. It's like the clothes that I'm wearing at my heaviest before I went and launched Beyond are now my skinny clothes, but they used to be my fat clothes. And so I have other skinny clothes that are waiting for me. So I don't have to buy a new wardrobe. I just need to get down to that one, because I'm not one that worries about fashion. I'm more about comfort. So I could care less. Now, there's some things I'll draw a line with, because I don't think I'm going to start bringing back the neon colors from the 80s yet. I don't think I'm quite there. Nor high-rise jeans. I don't think I'm there yet, or shoulder pads. I'm kind of drawing the line on that, but all the stuff in my closet isn't that anyway. So I'm very excited. So thank you for joining in the celebration with me. And you're right, we have to apply it, you know, and I'm not going to tell people anything because I'm not going to tell them, I'm going to share with them, but I'm not going to share anything unless I did it. Because that's hypocritical. You know, that's just ego saying, oh, I got all this information. But really, how can I truly share the journey unless I actually have knowledge through experience? How can you do that?
No.
I mean, that's what talking heads do. And so I can actually come to somebody and say, hey, you know, have you considered this? In fact, because of this journey and because of you guys allowing this wonderful place to be able to share this and some of the things I've shared on Facebook, there has been quite a few other people that have joined into this fitness journey. And they've been sharing with me along the way about their successes. And there's some people that have frustrations. And because this is so successful, because I have been able to demonstrate it, because I've been doing it, I've been able to assist other people that are frustrated with it, because there's just a few things that you need to tweak. And when you find that magic, when you dial it in, all of a sudden your body just goes, thank you. Thank you. I've just been waiting for that final tweak. Now we can get along harmoniously, and now you can have life abundant. You know, the stuff, the words that we've heard, I'm going to give you life and I'm going to give you it abundantly. And how many of us, like you said in that study, are dealing with insulin resistance? And you know, most of that is subclinical. Like it's underneath, it flies under the radar, but it's there. And the only time that it's seen is when it gets full blown out diabetes. But meanwhile, all of this other stuff subclinically is happening, and all this damage is happening. Hence why it took me 4 years to heal my insulin resistance. 4 years. That's a long time to be patient.
Well, it is, but kudos for you for being patient, because so many people out there, I mean, let's just face it, food, especially sugar, is a drug, and it is an addiction. And these people, they may stay away from that drug for about a week or two, or maybe a month, but they go back to it. And then they go, I tried it. I can't live without this drug. And they don't even realize that they have grown up being an addict. They are truly addicted to something that wants to kill them. And that's the sad part. Peg and I was just having this discussion before I ran in the office to jump on to do this podcast with y'all, is the fact that most people are not willing to make that sacrifice. They know it's bad for them. They know what works, but they go, you know what? I'd rather live life with the addiction, and whatever happens, happens.
It's socially acceptable, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we will draw all kinds of conclusions about other drugs, and we have strong opinions about them, even though, you know, some people are seeing the benefits of the medicinal herbs, even with medicinal mushrooms as seeing them as medicine, right? But nobody's willing to actually talk about sugar. And so here we have some drugs out there that are healing, and we're beginning to talk about it, but nobody wants to talk about the drug that doesn't provide healing and it kills you. It literally, it's in the process of a slow kill, and nobody really wants to talk about it because it is socially acceptable. So all you have to do is go over to your neighbor's house in a barbecue, and they're going to have something out there that is full of sugar and fat as a combination, which is going to wreak havoc on your body, and everybody's okay with it. So these conversations need to be had. Do you guys know who Dr. Robert Lustig is? Does that name ring a bell? Love him.
Yeah.
Love him. He has pioneered quite a lot in being able to bring sugar to the forefront. And he's even, I have lost track of him for a while, but he was even bringing to the forefront of saying that these vending machines in high schools and in middle schools that have the sports aids and all of these other drinks need to be taken out of the schools because of the damage that it's doing in setting children up for failure. Really, it's not helping them. We start setting into early onset diabetes by the time they're in their 20s, and some of them as teenagers. And what is the rest of their life going to look like?
Right. Well, speaking of those machines, the vending machines, where that came about was when the tobacco industry took over the food industry, and they replaced the cigarette machines. They couldn't put cigarette machines in schools, but now they can put snack machines because that's legal, and that they can aim at kids,
I know, set them up, the pharmaceutical companies set them up for life to have to be dependent on different medications so that they can just survive. And that's not life abundant.
Well, no, something else is happening. I know you were talking or you posted about it this week, Brian, was how much farmland Bill Gates has acquired. It's so sad I don't begrudge anybody buying land. I mean, you have the resources to do it, but the point to buy land and push this plant-based protein on the masses.
So he can profit off all that land. Yeah.
It's sad. And so what does he own? More farmland than all the farmers, or 40% of the farmers combined? That's crazy. And now you have all these other, chicken plants and meat processing plants, and all burning to the ground in the last year and a half. I mean, I'm not into conspiracy theory. I'm just into facts. But what I have seen is you got all these meat processing plants burning to the ground and being destroyed. So there's less and less meat. And then I saw what you posted on Wednesday, Brian, about the emissions from for the produce that gets delivered all across the country to stores, and how much that's hitting carbon emissions. But that keeps getting pushed over and over and over again, and nobody's really talking other than shows like this and other people who are very few who are able to speak up about what's happening. But just follow the trail. Tobacco industry and all the companies they've acquired, and they're all the major food companies that make all the crap food that you buy at the store. They're the ones pushing it. And then there was that thing you posted, Brian, about the food. There's a food seminar or something where it's sponsored by, most of the sponsors are Pepsi Cola, Nabisco, General Mills. What was it? It's some type of food and nutrition seminar, isn't it?
Let me look real quick. No, I'll find it here.
I know that some of these big companies, I saw a documentary quite a few years ago about how Nestle went into, I think, was it Mexico? Don't quote me on that, but Nestle went into, I'm pretty sure it was Mexico, and was promoting that chocolate and a lot of the things that they had were really healthy. And bringing so that they could expand the market outside of the United States. And they were actually presenting it to people that had no idea of being able to do fact checking or anything else, and believing that it was altruistic as to why they came in. And right now in that country, it is a high rate of diabetes due to this propaganda and the things that happened in American companies coming over and saying that our products and chocolate and all these things are really good for you and you need to bring it in the household, and then introducing it to their children. Like I said, it just sets up a well, what do you want to call it? A monthly subscription, you know. I mean, pharmaceuticals is just a way for them just to keep money coming in every month. And so if they can make you sick, they can profit off you. And it's sad. It's sad. You know, things do need to change. They need to change. And how do we do it? We change it one person at a time. So whoever comes on here and listens to Keto Rocks Radio on Friday on, you know, the premiere of the videos and starts asking questions, can start seeing the truth of what's going on. And then when you find out the truth, then you have an ability to make educated choices instead of being in the land of ignorance and giving your money away that you've worked hard for and having to give it to the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors that may not have altruistic means, or, you know, thoughts towards you as you being a cash cow. And I use that, I use that specifically because really, if we were able to get things back the way they were and become sustainable, and through sustainable farming, even with cattle, I mean, you see what the benefit is for cattle on the land. And you get the people out there saying, oh, you're taking a life, you're taking a life, you're taking a life. And it's like, well, all that you're saying, you don't understand the cycle of life to begin with. And if you don't understand the cycle of life, and you're going to skew things, you're going to actually be doing things that are more harmful, not only to the earth, but to your body. And why? To ease your own consciousness? I mean, what is this really about? What is this about? Is it about shame and guilt? You know, because the cycle of life, we come in, we live, we die. Everything is that way. It's a cycle of life. And in actuality, when it's done right, all the organisms on this earth, when it's done in its proper order, actually benefit from one another. And it's a beautiful picture. It's just been really skewed because man's hands has gotten on it and said it needs to be this way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man thinks he knows better. And it's always fast. But getting back to that though too is like the Bill Gates thing. In fact, you know, they push the plant-based thing, but they try to do it under the guise of saving the planet. You know,
I know.
Has nothing to do with saving the planet. It's all about just profit and money and greed.
It really does. I mean, bottom line, it comes down to greed. And, you know, I used to be all for capitalism when I was younger. I believed in being a capitalist. I believe if you can go out there and build it, but what I've witnessed, and I'm always honest with my evaluations and my observations to myself, because I have to live with myself. But what I've seen is it's just breed corruption, and it's got to the point where the corruption is so out of hand that literally is being built on poisoning the majority of the population and getting them to take something that's not good for you. And and you see the results of it. You can go anywhere. You can see why it's impacting the youth of America. I mean, you very rarely, when in middle school or elementary, middle, high school, did you see obese kids? If you did, they really did stand out. And who knows if they had issues or what caused them to be obese, but it wasn't the norm. But you can go to a school these days and walk the halls and see, and kids at a young age, I mean, like elementary school, they're obese. You can see whatever they're putting in the food is impacting, whether it's the hormones or whatever, you see it impacting their physical bodies. And you see obese, and you see them addicted to exactly the foods they are peddling to that age group. You know, and it's all processed crap. And we're not serving anybody. We're not helping anybody. And it's like Brian says with this study, they do it under the disguise of, this is saving the planet and beneficial to you. But the reality of it is, and if you're listening to this show tonight, go do your own research on seed oils and see just how bad they are. Look at our episode with Ben Azadi telling you that crap stays in you for 2.5 years. And you wonder why, well, I changed my diet for a month, but I'm just going back to the sugar. I'm not noticing any difference. You understand how long it took you to get to where you are? It's going to take you, give yourself at least that long to recover from the bad choices of what you've placed in your mouth during that time. So to me, it's just so sad. And if you can literally look at everything with an open pair of eyes, and see that no matter which direction you go, it's for profit, for profit, for profit, for profit. The only time they're not getting anything is when you finally have taken the power back to you and you're growing, you're buying your own local food. You're capturing rainwater to grow your garden or to fill your fish tank, whatever it is. When you start taking back your power, when you say, I'm not going to get health insurance, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to live life on my terms, and I'm going to do health by eating the foods that maximize my body. It doesn't mean that you're being arrogant or you're being disrespectful. What it means is you've taken back your power. And when you do that, you're not putting, excuse the pun, you're not seeding their pockets with money. You literally are able to use your money, your thoughts, your mind to do what's right for you. And for me, and I'm not saying this is for everybody because everybody's different, but for me, it's being mostly carnivore. Eating a carnivore lifestyle works for me. I feel good. I don't get sick. My weight's maintained. But I can tell you, like we celebrated Father's Day on Sunday. I think I mentioned this last week. It's our youngest turned 26 on Saturday. Our middle daughter turned 37, although she's going to hate me for saying that, yesterday on my Monday. And we celebrated Sunday at the pool, and Trent's girlfriend made a Reese's chocolate Oreo cake or something. I know it looked really, really good for his birthday. And then we had a Costco cake. So both of those were very tempting. But I said to myself, I said, gosh, I remember how I would have had a big old slice of both of them. But I just sit there and looked at it. I just go, poison, poison, poison. I am not going to do that to my body. And I didn't. And I felt great afterwards. But, it takes you, like you, Carrie, and you, Brian, it takes you getting there, realizing that I was an addict. I was addicted to that crap. And I understand what it was doing to me. And so hopefully someone out there is watching this. Hopefully this inspires you to go out there and do your own research and find out other shows. But the results for you have to be what's in your best interest. Like Brian, you just got your blood work done a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So do we have the results in?
Yeah, I finally got them back. It took like 2 weeks for me to get them. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Where is it?
While you're looking at it, can I share something?
Sure.
As we're sitting here talking, I was thinking about what you were sharing about the birthday party and whatnot. And by those of us who are choosing to make these kind of lifestyle changes, the people that are still ignorant to how the whole system works, because it really is a system. It's understanding the systems. It's not just one thing. It's not pinpointing it. You have to follow it all the way out. For those of us that are awake to that, and we are taking our health back, we're taking our autonomy back, we're doing all of these things. Sometimes it can be really isolating. It can feel strong separation because a lot of people just don't understand. And I'm sitting here thinking that one of the most important things to do when you're going to commit to something like this, because it really is easy to quit, build a community. Build a community of people that are loving and supportive to you. Find people that are going to do it with you, that can encourage you on the days when you're down, because it is easy to quit. The ego likes the path of least resistance, and quitting is easy. But then you have short life expectancy, and then you get under the pharmaceutical companies and you never get to have your life back. And so my heart is saying, reaching out to people and saying, find a community that's going to support you on it, because you're going to have those rough days. And then the other aspect of it is forgive yourself.
Yes.
I mean, literally forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the ignorance. Forgive yourself for the choices that you made. You know, you can't undo what you already did. So just forget it. Just, and feel it. Feel the agony of, oh my God, I was killing myself. Allow yourself to grieve for the years that you lost that you could have had, and then just let it go. Just forgive yourself, because if you don't heal this first, it's going to try sabotaging you the whole way. How do I know? Because I walked it out and I know.
Well, the other thing, and I'll let Brian share his numbers here, but the other thing in regards to that, Carrie, is the fact that, you know, you're a new person. It's a new day. Every breath you take, it's a chance for you to be the real you, the new you. And so it's just like if you ever took a stick and throw it in the river, that water just goes right down. That stick just goes down the river. That water is always new. It's always flowing. It's life-giving. It's moving. So are you. You're a moving target. So if what you're thinking about is not bringing you joy and peace and happiness, if it's bringing you back to that place where you were, then you need to sit there and find a way, however that is, meditation, singing, whatever it takes for you to stop hearing that liar that's in your head telling you you're never going to do what they did. You're not going to be able to do what Brian did. You're not going to be able to do what Carrie did. That voice is a liar, and you need to put that to bed. You put it to bed by not listening to it. And if it's not bringing you joy and positivity in your life, then just know it's the liar speaking to you. Put the liar to sleep by not listening to the liar. Brian, give us the good news. We got a drum roll.
What do you want to hear? Is it just the
well, let's just hear. Let's hear it. Well, let's talk about everything. A1C. That's the big one. Did we get that one?
Yeah, mine is 5.4. It hasn't changed. Actually, the last time I had my blood work done was right before
years ago.
Here. It was like December 2018.
Okay, so 4 years ago.
Yeah,
3.5 years ago.
Yeah, because I moved here March 2019. So that was my last actual blood work. Well, it seems like I had it done.
I thought you had one. I thought you had some done a year and a half ago or 2 years ago.
No, you're right. I did have it done here because I went to the lab here. But anyway, it hasn't changed. It was still 5.4, my A1C.
That's really good.
So that's the same. And then let's see, man, this test goes on forever though. I had so many things checked. Where'd it go? Yeah, as far as like say my cholesterol, I mean, my cholesterol is way high, but I'm not really concerned because my HDL is 102 and my triglycerides are 118, which I wish they were the other way around, but it's still good. And then what is this? You want to know what my LDL is?
Sure. 750?
No, it's actually it's 350.
Well,
so actually
that came down.
Yeah, it seems to have come down, but my total cholesterol is still what, 789?
Oh yeah.
Which I think is funny.
It's hilarious because the fat, the cholesterol and stuff in the blood, it just bounces right through. It just goes through. It does what it's supposed to do.
It's a healer.
It's sugar. It's sugar that does it. It's the stuff that causes it sinks and it creates the plaque. It's not the fat. It's not the fat.
Well, I also had the particle size thing done, and it turns out mine are I've got what is it, the APO? Wait, let me see what they call that thing.
They're the larger size ones?
Yeah. Where is that? It's way down. Man, I had so many tests done.
So you have a bunch of swimmers in there and not sinkers.
Yeah, they're the big fluffy ones.
Yeah.
Where is that on here? God, this test is so.
It's like you have to learn how to read these tests. You know, somebody's got to instruct you because they're
I have to find it on here because there's so many. The list just goes on and on and on. And in the particle size wasn't with the rest of the thing. Cholesterol. Where is it here? It's got to be here somewhere.
So most people that don't understand how cholesterol works, they hear a number like that and they would just freak out.
Oh, here it is. Oh, it was right underneath it. I'm scrolling. See, I got the Quest Diagnostics printout, but I went through Ben Greenfield has these he has these tests that he's set up with Quest Diagnostics where you can get this whole package. And so I did one of his tests. I went through his website. So I got the results back from there too. So I have them in two different places. So that's why in one they had them in different spots. So I'm looking in the wrong places here. But anyway, what did it say? See, this is where I don't really know how to read it because there's other things on here.
Do they give you the range what it should fall in underneath each result, Brian?
APOA or APOB. See, that's why I'm not sure how to explain all this stuff. I need somebody to decipher it.
An interpreter.
But apparently, you can sort of click. Oh, here it is. APOA1. What does that mean?
I was just going to ask you that question.
Yeah, they're the big fluffy ones, and mine they show like a
range,
like the risk factor down here, then the moderate, and then the low risk up here is in green, and the numbers coincide. Like if you're near the top or the bottom, low risk they consider it like 132. Mine is at 268.
Wow.
So I'm like way beyond good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm way up at the top of the scale. So that means I've got all these big fluffy LDLs, and they're like a rotor-rooter. They go through your veins and they clean them out. So
yeah.
Now all I have to do is go back and get the CAC score again because I haven't had that in 3 years.
So for everybody who's always worried about Brian, can you hear us now, Brian?
Yeah. What? I don't know what happens.
I don't know.
I have this sound enhancement thing on my computer. And last time it was that, but I turned that off and it still didn't fix it. So I don't.
Well, we're back. You got us.
It's all well.
It's all well. We got a lot of editing to do, but it's all good.
So I don't know what I was talking about with the tests, but I was talking about the LDL, the big fluffy ones, but yeah.
And how they're the big roto-rooters that they clean out the veins, they clean it out.
Yeah, and what we were saying, Brian, for all those people who are very concerned about your health because of the amount of eggs and the amount of fatty beef that you digest, rest assured now that he has the proof to show you that eggs and fatty beef and steaks, ribeyes do not cause you to have the issues that you think they cause. It's the opposite. So what we should do is put Brian's numbers against we got to find somebody on another channel that does the plant-based protein stuff and have their numbers checked and literally compare the panels and see the impact they have, because it'd be interesting to see what their numbers come out. But
yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe some of the, like all my thyroid stuff, that's all like good. There's a few red things here and there. But I remember last time being concerned about those, and I did one of those Zoom meetings with Dr. Barry, and one of them that said that was high, which is still high, is the DHEA. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, the higher the better. That's good. So they consider it like, because it's out of the range, so they mark it red, but it's actually okay being like that. I think it's probably worse low, I would assume. But
you know what's interesting? I just was thinking as you're sharing about that, right? So when they take all these blood panels, and the normal person that has the SAD, the standard American diet, and there's a certain range that everybody fits into, and if you don't, all of a sudden it's a red flag. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was something that happened. Oh, geez. It was in the process before I lost weight the first time. So we're talking over a decade ago. Did you guys know, and I don't know if it affected men's clothing, but do you know that they readjusted the women's sizes of clothing because we had, as a group of people, had become so obese that they were concerned about our mental faculties on all of this. And so they readjust the women's clothing size up higher.
Yeah, I knew that. I wear girls jeans. So I mean, it was, and I remember going to the store when it happened, and it's not like they really announced it. It's just all of a sudden the sizings were different. And so I went down some rabbit trails to find out what happened. And it's because of that. It's because across the board, we were getting much bigger, much heavier, and they had to make the adjustment so that people wouldn't be alarmed that obesity was on the rise. And I remember when I was a kid, we used to go to Disneyland every summer. It was kind of like our summer trip, and in the 80s. And I remember as a kid, I was always just marveling, because down in California, I used to say this, down in California is where all the beautiful people lived. That's how I saw it, because everybody they had these beautiful bodies, and they were just beautiful people. As a little kid, that's how I saw them. So then when I went back 20 years later and hadn't been there, I was expecting I was going to see the same thing, that all the beautiful people live in California. So when I went to Disneyland, or I went to these places, I was shocked. I was shocked as to what I saw, and it didn't make any sense to me. I was looking around, because this is before I knew anything about what had happened with the food industry. I had no idea.
Right.
No idea.
Well, it was during the 70s where they started to turn to the vegetable oils and 1 or 2 eggs a week. And then, of course, then Gatorade got introduced as the necessary drink. If you're going to work out, you had to drink Gatorade to replenish those.
And everything,
electrolytes.
Then everything came out as low fat. That was the thing too. They took all the fat out.
Low fat, high sugar.
But you got some more numbers for us?
Well, I was going to say, I was just getting back to the clothes sizes. They did that with men's clothing too, because say a medium T-shirt now is actually a large. Because I used to wear medium when I was back in the 70s when I was younger, and it fit. Now it's like huge on me. I'm not shrinking. So it,
So they did it with the men's clothing too. It wasn't just the women's.
Yeah. The medium is the largest, the new medium, and smallest fits like a medium used to fit. So I can actually fit in an extra small now.
Wow.
Well, think about that. You talked about the American food diet, the American standard diet. Look what they did to the worst stuff they gave you the most of to eat, the carbohydrates and the pastas, and then I don't even know what it is, because I don't even want to look at it, but
the food pyramid. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we were raised up. That's what we were raised in believing was the healthy diet.
Well, that goes back to trusting yourself. So you send your kids off to school, they eat what they're going to be served at school, which is crap most of the time.
Food.
Yeah. And then they got the vending machines that you can get your sugar water from. There's a funny commercial. I have to find it. As a matter of fact, I'll see if I can post it on the end of this episode. But there was a movie, and I remember the segment they pulled out there where these people were going, you need to take this. I don't forget what it was called. It was some drug. It was like, you need to take they were making fun of Gatorade, basically. Well, you got to take the electrolytes. They go, yeah, but why don't I just drink water? They go, oh, no. You got to drink the electrolytes, builds your body up and all that. And they just made fun of it the whole way through. And it was comical. I'm doing it a seriously disservice by how I'm trying to explain it, but I will post it up here or send it to you too, so you know what I was trying to convey.
Rondo the Thirst Mutilator had come to replace water virtually everywhere. Water, the basic component of all life, had been deemed a threat to Brondo's profit margin. The solution came during the budget crisis of 2330, when the Brondo Corporation simply bought the FDA and the FCC, enabling them to say, do, and sell anything they wanted. Joe didn't know any of this, but he did see a problem that he might actually be able to solve. With his options running out, Joe took a bold step. He would not get out of the way. This time, he would lead.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look. The plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem, I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why do they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
That's what they've done to us. They make us just put all this crap in us to eat. And then we go to the doctor who's been programmed to give you this in response to the crap that you're eating. So, oh, don't worry, we can manage that, Jim. You know, we just need to make sure that you stop eating all those eggs you're eating and all that fatty meat. And they start telling you, you make sure you eat oatmeal in the morning and have yourself a grapefruit. And it's all this stuff.
Bananas too. Have some bananas on top of it.
Yes.
Especially in your oatmeal. Go ahead and throw a couple bananas in there.
Yeah, throw bananas up there. Yeah, I mean, everything. And so it's just like and then they got, of course, they can't be wrong because it's got the American Heart Healthy stamp of approval on there, which is a pretty expensive stamp because you know what you're paying the price for that? Your health. You're giving them your all just so you can make them rich.
I know.
And until it's just, it's,
you know,
you're seeing it more
what
and
the
more.
sad part is? The sad part is that if we're going to make any changes, we have to do it within our families. We have to do it. We have to educate our children while they're growing up to be able to navigate this. And the difficulty in that is if you choose to do something that's outside of the norm and the standard of what everybody else is doing, people can turn you in for child abuse. And there is something completely wrong about that. I mean, I remember watching a video on a woman that they were trying to take her child away from her because she was teaching her child how to be a responsible eater and doing it. But because she was limiting her daughter from having Doritos and Cheetos and Fritos and Capri Suns and all of this stuff, other family member, or not family members, other like friends of the family, so the children playing, those parents turned her into the authorities and said that she was abusing her child by not allowing her to have all this junk food, that it was actually causing psychological trauma on her daughter by not having those things and not allowing her daughter to have those things when she was trying to set up her daughters to succeed. And that is wrong. And so the difficulty is how do we do this and adopt this within our families as we're raising children while society is saying this is bad and they're pushing the vegan lifestyle and even teaching it in the schools, in the education system, that these children are actually being brainwashed or programmed to believe that this is the way they should, and then shaming others for that don't. And yet there's these parents that are trying to really take their children's health back so that the kids don't become diabetic by the time they're in high school.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's sort of on the same parallel as like the medical industry. the way the doctors, they can't actually help a patient. They have to do what the insurance companies tell them they have to do. So it's the same kind of, almost the same thing. If you go outside of the lines, you get in trouble, even though you're doing more good, you know?
Right. And they can pull your medical license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one of the guys we had on early on our show. His dad was a doctor. He was a clinical doctor, but his dad got blackballed from being able to practice because he was going against what the insurance guidelines were as far as the amount of prescriptions he was writing for his patients. He wasn't meeting the minimum. So
yeah,
there's a huge overhaul that just needs to be done all the way around.
Yeah.
And the only way that we're going to be able to do it is, one person at a time, starting right here, and then being able to help and educate other people so that we can, part of it is voting with our dollars. That was something I heard a long time ago with the genetically modified foods, and Jeffrey Smith said, vote with your dollars. You may not get a chance to actually change the vote if you go and try to vote things in, because people, they're trying to not have to label foods and stuff, but vote by your dollars, because these big companies, if their bottom line starts getting impacted, they're going to start listening, because that's really what it's going to take.
It is.
For them to pay attention and to realize that there's many of us that are waking up to this truth, and we're making our stand, and we're doing it one person at a time, starting in here, changing and overhauling everything, because it is not sustainable. It is starting to implode on itself. And so when we get back to the way things used to be, and taking our health back and making the stand and teaching our children, teaching our neighbors, the people who want to know, how come you look so vibrant? How come you have all this energy? I've been seeing that you lost weight. What did you do? I've tried everything. Then we can have the answers for them. Because that's really what it is. We need to be able to be the answer, be the resolve, so that when people come to ask questions, we know what the hell we're talking about, because we did it.
Right. Yeah, that's the sad part. The fact that, the lifestyle, or what they get peddled to at that kindergarten, elementary age, is that, it doesn't help their brain form. I mean, the fat and the cholesterol, all that helps the body grow and to think. So it's firing on all cylinders. And when you're got brain fog because you're not feeding it the foods that it needs in order to be running sharp, optimizing it, you fall prey to this. And it's almost like, talking about full circle, it's like they raise you up, you have to go to college, because you can't, Peg and I was talking about this the other day, you have to go to college and get a master's degree now, or a doctorate degree, because a BH is just not good enough for you to get a job. And really all you're doing is paying for somebody to program you what they want you to go do out there. When I know so many people who did not go to college, who have more work ethic, who are intelligent, smart, hardworking, thought outside the box, but they couldn't get a job because they don't have that piece of paper that says I've been programmed. And I'm not bashing anybody who's got a college degree. What I'm saying is we're putting too much emphasis on something that doesn't need to be put on a piece of paper, and putting people in debt. So you're going in debt $200,000 to get a piece of paper that says I went to school for 4 years, but the information that you've been programmed with may or may not be in the best interest of you or to the public. And all I'm saying is, we have, like Carrie said, you're going to have to go out and educate yourself and find out what works for you and your body, and just live that out. If you're not, live that out. But if you're not healthy, if you're obese, then you got to sit there and look in the mirror and go, how did I get here? And then you need to change what you've thought, or what you've been programmed with. And
first thing is honesty with yourself. That's the very first step, is honesty with yourself.
And don't let anybody, you can't let someone shame you for how you're living your life. You can't how dare you kill an animal? Or Brian, how dare you eat all this eggs and meat? Aren't you know what you're doing? Listen, they're coming from a bad place because that's what they were programmed. They mean good, but they've been taught a lie that's made them a liar, and nobody wants to be a liar. That's not who we're created to be. So all you have to do is not get upset with them. Just go, okay, I hear you. I don't know what to tell you. This is how I'm going to live my life. And the more people are okay with living the life the way Brian and Carrie and Ben Azadi and Dr. Iflin and all these other people who've come to the conclusion that what they were programmed with doesn't work, then that's when the real growth begins. And that's when you start to have an impact on you, your future family, your genealogy, the people you hang out with, your coworkers. And as Carrie said, you're not out there telling anybody, you're out there just living it out. And when you live it out, people are attracted to that because they see the changes in a positive manner. They see how Brian looks and how Brian's energy level and what he's able to do. And Carrie, you know, people are noticing you and they're going to come to you and say, hey, what have you been doing? And it opens that door for us to be able to share, not tell, just share. And it's a beautiful thing. And the sadness, you know, and the sadness in all this is I just don't understand why we as humanity can't just be honest. I mean, look, why can't they profit from selling ribeye steaks that they're not, why do we have to feed the masses a toxin in order for you to profit? Can't you profit by just selling non-GMO asparagus or just organic meat without having any hormones or steroids injected into the cow or to the meat? So, you know, it's more of why can't we just be honest? And, you know, why can't we just sell water in the vending machines? Why do we got to put sugar in it and market it as Gatorade? You know, there's just so many things out there.
We need a catalyst. We need a catalyst. We need something that pokes and prods and stings us so we get off our rear and make change. Because if we're not having something as a catalyst to poke, prod, and sting us, we will not change. And so the noose has been tightening. All of these pressures are coming in, and I see it as levels of grace. Grace is coming in to put pressure on us so that we will stand up and be the change. We're not looking for the change anywhere outside of ourselves, because that, if we're looking outside of ourselves for change, that is not sustainable. That is going to let you down every single time. But if we get pushed enough and we actually stand up and start going inside and be the change ourselves, then we can push back. But it's only going to happen that. So I'm grateful for all of this. I'm grateful for the catalyst. I am sad for the people that are in ignorance, but boy, am I grateful that I ate crappy food for a while so that I could have a comparison of what it feels like to be fat and lethargic with no energy, feeling sick all the time versus where I'm at right now. Because if I didn't have that, if those food sources that were making me sick and all the choices and all the bad advice that I was getting from other people that were programming me, if that wasn't there, I would never be here.
Yep.
I would never be here. So they have a purpose. If we will just listen to it and find the resolve and be the change. Don't wait for it to happen. Be it. I am the change. I am changed.
You are. Absolutely.
Sorry, that was a little soapbox.
No, you're fine. No,
I'm very passionate about this, because I've seen it on both sides. I've lived both sides, as here we all have. And anybody who's listening to this knows. They know. Yeah.
And so, you know, you said something I think is important. If you don't have, you know, if you feel like you're on an island by yourself, man, consider this tribe, your family. You know, reach out to us, show up on Friday nights in the chats. We'll talk to you. You want to email us at ketorocks22@gmail.com, you know, or find us on Facebook. We will respond to you. We will encourage you, because we don't want you to feel like you're isolated and all on that island by yourself, because you're not. There's a lot more of us than you think there are. So maybe the crowd that you're hanging out with, maybe you're going to be the blessing that helps them to live a long life. Maybe you're going to come back and live it out and cause them to go, wow, maybe that does really work, Carrie. I never looked at it that way. So it's all opportunities. Every breath you take is an opportunity, and how you live out your life is an opportunity to not only benefit yourself, but like, since last week, like how Brian lives his life out, benefits so many more people than just Brian.
Absolutely.
But it took Brian going inside. Like it takes all of us inside. It takes all of us to sit there and go, man, how in the heck did I end up here? And, you need to get away, just be with yourself and look and say, how did I get here? Wow. And be honest and say, man, I've been duped. I've bought a bunch of lies to get me here. That's, that stuff's not really making me healthy. And look, do we all want to I mean, I love animals. I love getting up in the morning and just sitting out on the back patio and just watching wildlife. I love watching the birds, the pileated woodpeckers and the robins and the sparrows, and the cardinals, in the morning, fly around and enjoy life and be celebrating it. Same thing about seeing cows around here in the pastures that are in the farms here in Summerduck. But as you said, life is full circle. This meat suit that I'm in, I'm not going to be in it forever. I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to leave it behind, and whoever wants to have it can have at it. But the reality of it is, life is beautiful if you have the right perspective, and you can honor all things, all creation, by having that right perspective. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox. All right, it's that time of the evening where we get a chance to check in with Mr. Brian Shanker of the MeatTribe channel for those meat deals of the week. So, Brian, we're all waiting. What do we have?
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Awesome. All right, so a couple of deals out of Carnes. Central PA is where they're located. They've got several stores there. Their deals run through the 27th. They've got some choice grade boneless chuck eye steaks for $6.99 per pound, and they have some choice grade short ribs, beef short ribs for $5.99 per pound. Food Lion, I've got 4 deals from Food Lion. They run through the 28th. They have 73% lean ground beef for $2.99 a pound, which we all know $2.99 a pound is going to be the best you're going to get for ground beef these days. And they've got some choice grade boneless chuck roast for $4.99 a pound, and some choice grade beef stew cubes for $4.99 a pound, and some choice grade boneless New York strips for $9.99 a pound. And then the last store I've got a deal for you from is Kroger. They've got some Angus top sirloin steaks that are boneless in a family pack for $5.99 per pound, and then some 80% lean Angus ground beef or ground chuck for $2.99 per pound.
Wow, that's some good prices there. Now I'm wishing we had a Kroger in our part of Virginia.
I do. You guys are always talking about stores that I can't, but I got a Kroger that I can go to. So thank you.
Yeah, I try to do the Kroger every time because I know Brian's got one down by him. So
I appreciate it.
We need to have
I feel loved.
Brian needs to have a freezer sale one weekend so he gets some of that meat sold out, so he's got room for some fresh meat coming there. Or at least Lisa auction off the tongue at least.
I bought 3 more briskets this past week
from Kroger for the $1.99 sale.
Yeah.
Wow, so good.
Good.
I don't know when I'm gonna. I got to find a spot where I can cook them. I have to have a brisket party.
I know that Brian's got to get going, but what we do is we'll take some of the really lean meats and we'll actually dry them. We'll slice them in thin slices and then put some seasoning on them and then put them in the dehydrator so that you have some beef snacks. And I'll tell you what, some of those that have a little bit of the marbling with the fat in them, oh my gosh, you talk about a quick, easy snack and you take it with you and there you just, you make room for your freezer.
Yeah, okay.
I tell you what,
just an idea.
Oh, it sounds great. I know Dennis makes some really good beef jerky, and he sent some to you too, Brian, didn't he?
Yes,
Brian
he did.
Shanker.
Yep.
Did he send it to you, Brian Forsythe?
What was it?
Beef jerky.
Beef jerky. Dennis made some. The meatologist. Did he send you any some? He sent some to me, and it was delicious.
I don't think he did. I think I would have remembered. But people send me stuff, so sometimes I forget. I'm always getting meat on my doorstep.
That's nice. So, Mr. Shanker, no ribeyes this week, huh?
Not yet. Harris Teeter's going to drop their information tomorrow, so stay tuned to the Friday update on my channel, and maybe we'll have some ribeyes at that point.
All right. Oh, if you're like me, I'm going to tune into his channel to find out if we have any Harris Teeter ribeyes. So join me on Friday. Let's hope that we're going to have some ribeyes on sale. So anyway, Brian, thanks for coming on and sharing those deals. And Carrie, you got to go out there to Kroger and take advantage of some of those great deals.
I know, but with gas at $6.39 for diesel, I got to weigh it out.
You got to buy a truckload.
Oh man, it's like an hour and 45 minutes to a Kroger. So, hour and 45 minutes to save money at $6.39 a gallon. I got to weigh it out.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
Well, Mr. Shanker, we will see you next Friday. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Good to see
Sounds
you.
good. Take care, everybody.
All right, we'll see you. Brian, is Kix playing anywhere this weekend?
Yes.
Where are you guys playing?
We're up. Well, when this airs, we have played last night. So Thursday we're up in Minnesota at the lake. It's called Lakes Jam 2, I think. It's up in Brainerd, Minnesota, and then Friday we're in St. Louis. What is it? The Diamond Music Hall, I think it's called.
Wow, you guys got some traveling ahead of you this week.
Yeah. Well, what did I say? Thursday and Saturday. Yeah, those are the 2 nights.
Okay.
So when this airs on Friday, I'll be sitting in some hotel room somewhere.
Maybe one of these days I'll make it out to the East Coast, and it'll be a time when you're playing and I can go see one of my favorite 80s bands and actually enjoy it in my thinner body that can actually pop and move and jump and do all that kind of stuff that I couldn't do when I was a lot heavier. So that would be fun. I would love that.
Well, we make it out west every once in a while too.
Yeah, we just need the gas prices to come down, dang it. There's that.
Yeah.
Well, how much are gas prices out in Oregon? Let's find out.
Right in my little town, diesel is $6.39 and gas is $5.30 for the lowest octane of it. So we have a diesel pickup. It's an older gal. She does get some pretty good gas mileage. We get about 22 miles to a gallon for diesel. It's a Gen 1 Ram. And so a Dodge Ram, and she's great. She's an older girl, but still 22 miles a gallon at $6.39 a gallon. It's like, ugh, it hurts. It hurts.
Yep, I'm sure.
I actually was thinking that all the people that decided to buy those Prius cars and the ones that got all the flack for the Prius are probably laughing right now. And they might actually be saying, joke's on you now. Anyway, that was my thought today when I was looking at the prices and going, my mom was pretty smart when she bought her Prius.
Yeah, the electric vehicles are looking pretty sweet at this moment. So
man,
anyway. So Brian, if people have made it this far along in the program, what bit of advice has benefited you? And now we have proof because you have all your lab works that you have shared with the world. But those lab results are positive because of one thing primarily. What bit of advice would you give people?
I would say eat your meat.
And you too can grow up to be Brian Forsythe. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks, Carrie. As always an honor to have you on our show. It's great to see the results that you are manifesting and sharing with the world. So kudos to you.
Thank you for making a place for me to be held accountable. Truly. It's helped a lot because I know I'm going to speak with you every month. And so some of those days when I start sleeping or I think about it, I'm like, wait a minute, In 2 weeks, I'm going to be on Keto Rocks Radio. So you've been helping me as my tribe to keep me on track, and the results are speaking for themselves. So thank you. I honor you guys making this a safe place for me to share my journey.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to have you on. It's an honor for anybody who comes and joins with us. And we welcome anybody to come alongside and to start this journey. You won't be doing it alone. You got a lot more here in our family that'll be come alongside you, encourage you, and help you along the way. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, stay at the hospital, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Take care, everybody.
I love you all. Namaste.